If you've been following along in our 4-step setup series to get started with the Cash Manager, you're probably at a point where you're wondering, okay, I've followed along and I've entered my own information just like the videos, but I don't really know what information I can get from the Cash Manager yet. We're going to take some time to go over what's in there now and what we don't have yet. So, what we now have is first, working from the top down, you can see a notification reminding us that we were supposed to be paid and it's currently overdue. It's flagging us to let us know that there is something that we were supposed to be paid and have not received yet. Cash on hand is the total amount that you have between your two accounts that we set up in the first video. Cash reserves is the money that you have set aside for later. You can think about this as money you still have, you just want to mentally set it aside so you don't spend something on something you have to pay for in the future. So that's why it shows cash available, cash on hand, and you take out your cash reserves. This is what you can actually spend instead of just looking at your bank account and seeing the total cash on hand amount. It also breaks down what's in each of the accounts and then what your progress is for your cash reserves that you wanted to set aside and what's in there. And it tells you what's actually available. Cash projections tells you, based off all the information you put in there, from the account balance to what the bills are and what money you're going to receive, what your cash position will be in 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, and in 1 year. You also have a quick view of what upcoming bills you have and what money you have that you're anticipating to receive, which is a receivable. And at the bottom, you have your targets of things that you were trying to reserve money for. On the account screen, which we'll go over this in a later video on how to add transactions, but you can start to see how the reserves are applied to that account. And we didn't set any up for the savings account, but you can see how the reserves show up here, so you can always remember what it is that you're working towards. And I'll go into more detail on adding to that and using those funds in a later video. Bills, the same, nothing's changed here since the 4 videos, as well as the receivables, and our reserves stay the same. Because we have not entered any transactions for any of our accounts in the past, we just entered our opening balance. That's all we're going to see in the cash summary. But what we can see is what our projected amounts are going to be. Because we entered in recurring bills and recurring receivables, which is the money we're planning to receive as payments, then we can see what our cash impact will be based off of that information alone. What we have right now is we have our opening balance of the accounts that we entered. Throughout the rest of the year, we're anticipating that we're going to receive $51,300 in cash and $55,571.85 that we have to pay out, which gives us a difference, which means we spent more out than we took in, is $4,271.85. However, because we had money in the accounts the beginning of the year, we're not going to be in a negative cash balance. You can also see the recurring weekly client payments that we have, and some months are a little bit different because there's more weeks in some months, the way that the dates land. And then also for our one-time projects that we have. You can see that when we set up our categories, all the things related to those categories will be lumped into here. And then you can see what the difference between what you had cash in and cash out, the differences each month, and then what your balance is at the end of each of those months. You can also view this by each account. So you can see the operating account. And then we didn't have anything for the savings account, but just to show you that the filter works. You can also drill down by month to see what your balance is by month, by week, and by day, if there's a transaction for that day. Another thing that's interesting is, even though in this particular scenario, we have a couple one-off projects and we do have recurring payments that we're getting from clients weekly. And if you looked at this picture for this current year, everything looks okay right now, but I'm going to toggle into next year. So next year, we lose our one-off projects and we just have our weekly clients. Now we can see that if payroll stays the same, we take the same money out of our account, and all of our other bills stay the same, then we are actually going to overrun and spend our money past the money that we have coming in on the account. So you can start to see when that was going to happen and what month your account's going to start going into the negative. So I'm going to toggle over to monthly. Oh, actually, let me go back. This is all the accounts in total. I want to show you by operating account because you're going to be able to see it a little bit better. It's hard to tell which account is the one that's going to have the overrun until you can see which account it is. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at just the operating checking account. So you can see our weekly and then all of our commitments, and you can see exactly when the account's going to overrun, which is in June. So I'm going to go to the monthly and go to June, and you can see exactly when your account is going to be overdrawn is the week of June 21st to the 27th. Now, granted, this is quite far into the future. I'm not going to go to weekly and daily, but you get the idea that you could drill down and see the actual day that you are going to overrun an account. On the tracking screen, this just gives you an idea if you've ever thought in your head, did everyone pay me this month? Did I pay all my bills this month? And even though we don't have any transactions yet, this just gives you an idea of what that would look like. But you could see that this one receivable hasn't been paid. It's past today and it's been missed. And then we haven't made our staff payroll yet because it's not Friday. So that's just give you an idea of what are some of the things that you can already start to learn from using the cash manager, even if you have very limited information.